Hi, welcome everybody to another episode of All Things Labor Law. And today we're going to talk about a topic that is not generally known about, but I have vast experience and knowledge about this subject matter. And today we're going to talk about a certain section in the Department of Labor called the Inspection and the Enforcement Services section. Of course, you know the Department of Labor is known for mostly UIF, and the bulk of the clientele at the Department of Labor, where you see the long queues, is in relation to the UIF section. But today we're not going to focus on that. Of course, if you want to know about UIF, you are more than welcome to go on to one of my previous videos where I extensively talk about UIF. But today we're going to talk about inspection and enforcement services. And to enforce the labor laws, you need a person that will be able to do the monitoring and enforcement. And that person is called an inspector. So they are under um, the inspection and enforcement services, like I said. And an inspector has wide-ranging powers, of which I feel that I want to share with you guys. Many people don't know about the inspectorate, and I think it will be good for you to have a little bit of basic understanding of what an inspector does, because the first port of call for a person that has a complaint against a company is for you to go to the Department of Labor, to that section that I've mentioned previously, and you lay the complaint there. What you do, you lay the complaint. You said, for an example, I'll make an example of the national minimum wage. Uh, I see the new rate for the national minimum wage currently as it stands is 27 Rand 48 cents. So let's say you were supposed to get that money. You discover now that I have not been paid this amount. I've been paid only 17 Rand per hour, and I've been massively underpaid. It's 10 Rand less per hour. So there's a gross underpayment that I've been experiencing for the last 11 months. I've been getting this money, and only to discover now that I am not getting the money that I'm supposed to be getting. Then you go to the Department of Labor and you lay the complaint. Say, look, I think I've been underpaid. Here is my payslip, or here is my bank statement that shows the amount of money that I get. That the person at the other side of the cubicle, the official will look at your paperwork and say, yes, sir, you actually have been underpaid. Then that official will there's a whole process that takes place, and part of the process that official will then escalate that case to the inspectorate enforcement and section where that complaint will be listened to. See, so the duty of the inspector is to go out to the companies and enforce the labor laws. And you'll find that in this yellow book here called the Basic Conditions of Employment Act. And the Department of Labor inspectors' powers are enshrined in the Basic Conditions of Employment Act. And you'll see it's from section 64 right up until section 69. But I'm going to specifically I'm going to focus with the powers of the labor inspector. And I'm just going to give you some of the brief overview of what they're entitled to do. So that inspection that the inspector is going to do is called a reactive inspector. It means that a person came to the department with a specific employment, gave the employer's contact details. The company is at X address, and this is the name of the company. So the inspector will go there, and he will be able to go and engage the employer of said contravention of the Basic Condition of Employment Act. And part of the Basic Condition of Employment Act is, as you can see here, there is the National Minimum Wage Act. So the National Minimum Wage is infused into the Basic Conditions of Employment Act. And if there's a contravention in the National Minimum Wage Act, as my previous example, then you will engage the employer and say, look, you have now contravened the law. You have underpaid this person. You have to make it right. You have to pay this person according to. And the inspector has the power to be able to backdate that payments for a full 12 months. So if you have not been paid properly for a 12-month period, then that underpayment will be enforced. and you will get the full the value of the difference of the underpayment that will be paid to you for the full 12 months. So it's very important for you to know what the inspection and enforcement services is all about. Right. So now we're going to delve into there's there is so much there's so many aspects of the BCA, but I'm not really going to go much detail into it. Maybe I'll do another video on that, but I'm just going to give you the basic premise of what the basic conditions of employment act in terms of section 64 up until section 69. So I made some notes here, and I'm going to specifically focus on what the powers of the inspectorate is. So before I continue, I just remembered that I mentioned the fact that there's a reactive inspection. That reactive inspection is based on a complaint that has been given to the inspector that he has to now go there and react to the inspection. There's another section, there's another aspect also. It's called a proactive inspection, like I mentioned before. And that pro inspection is that where an inspector identify a workplace where he feels he wants to go and do an inspection, and that is where the fun part comes in, the powers of a labor inspector. So then the law says here, I'm going to focus a little bit um, on the labor laws, and according to Section 64, it's the functions, or it talks about the functions of a labor inspector. So what he can do is, when it comes to the premises, or and define if, one of the most fascinating things for me, for one of the massive I think powers that the labor inspector wield, is he is able to go into any building. The law talks about the labor inspector can go into any place, whether there's employment or purported employment service happening there. So meaning, even if it's a house, if you have a domestic worker and that domestic worker has been underpaid, the inspector has the power to come into your property and come find out what is going on. That's that's massive for me, you know. So we can enter into any building, and see, that is one of the things that I feel that is so important. People don't even know. You can go into any building and advise the employer. You can ask for documents. You can even seize documents if you want to. And what it can do is able to advise you, look, you've been contravening. You will send you a notice, and to say that you have contravened. You will conduct an inspection. You will go into any company, and if he gets to the company, if there's employees, he can interview any employee also there to ask what is going on in this company. He can randomly select a person and go in there and ask them what tell me what's happening in this company. That person can brief the inspector, and based on that findings, he will conduct his further investigations. So one of these powers of to investigate. And another fascinating thing also about the inspector, you might say, like, no, but the inspector can't just come and get documents because I'm protected by the Poppy Act. No, that is not the case. An inspector is exempted from the Poppy Act. So he can get any information from you, and you will have no recourse, because the powers of the BCA gives him that power to get documents. Once he's now conducted the inspection, the labor inspector can issue with a written undertaking in response to your contravention. And what that means is that a written undertaking means that you undertake in writing, basically, to say, look, I can see that I did make a mistake, and just give me X amount of time to rectify my mistake. And once you've given him the rectifications, and you've addressed the issue of an underpayment, which I've outlined as an example earlier on, then that case can be settled. But if you still don't heed to the written undertaking, you can go to the next step. The next step, you can issue with a compliance order. A labor inspector can issue you with a compliance order. That means that you have it is clear that you have contravened the law. You have not shown any other evidence to contrary to that, and then it issues you with a compliance order. And what that means is that it's set out now. You have to pay this underpayment as an example. It could be other things as well. It could be the person haven't gotten leave, or the person in all the rights that the person have in the basic conditions of employment, like leave and all the other things that goes apart with that, leave, sick leave, all the other things. If you contravene any of the BCA, then that's where the jurisdiction of the Department of Labor and its inspectorate will now come into play. So then the compliance order will be issued to you, and if you don't comply with that, then you will be issued with a fine. And on top of that, you will be able to have to pay the person that you have underpaid, and on top, the Department of Labor will issue with an additional fine for contravening. So it's very important for you as an employer not to be on the wrong side of the labor inspector. If you're non-cooperative, there's powers. It says here that if you are compelled to be able to answer all the questions, and if you interviews people, you must be able to. The burden of proof is on you to prove otherwise. You know, so a compliance order can in the new latest legislation is that a compliance order can be now turned into a arbitration award. It is equal standing as an arbitration award. That's so powerful, because previously it wasn't that. Even previously, you know, I've been in this game for a long time. Previously, the inspectorate had to first give a written undertaking, then only give you a chance to be able to comply, and then as a last resort, it gives you a compliance hour. Or the law has changed completely away from that. It is now the discretion of the labor inspector whether to go straight to a compliance order or give you that chance to be able to go the written undertaking route.
Okay, I want to know, give me some more details about the difference between when an inspector gets caught. What was the two different types?
A written undertaking and a compliance order.
No, the two different inspections.
It's a reactive inspection and a proactive inspection.
Yes, explain some more about the proactive one. Let's say I have a private practice. What are the chances of someone randomly stopping in to visit?
What you have to do is you have to come and make a complaint to the Department of Labor, and that complaint is escalated.
But then that's a reactive one.
That's a reactive one.
Tell me about the proactive one. How do they decide where to go?
A proactive one is where the Director General of the Department of Labor will say, I think we should focus on a specific area for this month. Now, there's different sectors in the economy. You'll get the contract cleaning companies, or you'll go to the security sector, or they'll go to the farming, they'll focus on the farming sector, or they'll focus on the hospitality sector. There's so many different sectors. The last time I saw that somebody was having a complaint about the education, all the Department of Labor was focusing on primary schools. They were just doing primary schools across the entire country and seeing whether there was contraventions there. So it depends on where the Department of Labor is going to focus on. So that is where that comes in. And there's a further thing that is called sectorial determinations. Sectorial determinations are, it basically means a specific sector. Like the contract cleaning is sectorial determination one, as I can remember. Sectorial determination 14 is the security sector. So there's different sectorial determinations where the Department of Labor will focus on, and that will in turn um, focus them into a certain a group or target market or area of inspection. Like last year, I remember them going to all the farms across the country, went all the rural areas, and just focused on farms, because you can't. I think it's difficult for you just to randomly go all over the place. Focus on the area and try and go expand the length and breadth of that area and that sector. So that is basically a, a proactive, but it's on the discretion of the inspector. Even if there was no specific sector, the inspector can choose which company to inspect. If he might even just drive past this company and decide tomorrow I'm going to that company. He can decide at random to go with any business, and nobody can stop him to enter into any premises. He can go into any premises without any authorization. and you can stop there without any prior notification. You can just go there whenever he feels he deemed necessary to go there. When his office hours, you'll go there. That's how powerful inspectors' powers are. And that is basically what I want to explain to you about the labor inspector. So I think that is very important. If you have any questions or comments, just be able to uh, uh, put some comments on the channel. My channel is called All Things Labor Law on Facebook, and obviously you can search All Things Labor Law on YouTube. Please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one where I'll be talking about a CCMO commissioner and their powers are in terms of the Labor Relations Act. And that will also be a nice, exciting one for you guys to learn more about your rights. Thank you very much.